The beginning of an interview with Bob Milton in the Chemung Valley Historical Museum at 415 East Water Street, Elmira, New York. Bob is 77 years old, having been born on August 29, 1926. I am Rita Shapiro. Will you please state for the record the branch of the service you were in and the war in which you served?
I was in the United States Navy, and I was in World War II and the Korean War.
Both?
Both.
I did not know. Did you volunteer for either one, or were you drafted?
I volunteered and was turned down.
For which war? For
World War II.
You were turned down?
Yes, I was rejected because of my eyes.
Oh.
And what I have now is implants.
Mm-hmm.
But my eyes were bad, and they rejected me.
How old were you at the time?
17.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was 18, I was drafted into the military. And when I got out done my physical, all the branches of service were open. So when the man said, "What branch of service do you want?" I says, "The Navy." And he just took that stamper and stamped it right down on papers. And that was it.
That was it.
So I had the Navy anyway.
So why did you want the Navy?
Well, I don't know if I could face the enemy. I don't really think I could. I didn't like the Army at all. I didn't like nothing, no part of the Army. And see, I was in the Amphibs, mm-hmm. and we were the guys that were on the ships that brought the invasions in. And so, that's tough,
Well, let's go back and let's ask a few questions, and then we'll go back to that if we can. Where did you do your basic training?
Sampson.
Oh, so you were close
I was
to
out on Seneca Lake in January, and if you can imagine such a thing. It was so cold, it was brutal. Yeah.
And how long was your training?
We had 10 weeks.
10 weeks?
Yeah.
And do you remember anything about your training at all? Any memories of it? Any of the people? Anything?
Well, not the people so much as I do the different activities. We had to go to observation school.
What's observation?
Well, for recognizing airplanes, the silhouettes, and the ships, and stuff like that. And then a swimming test we had to take. You had to know how to swim, and that was one of the requirements. Yeah. And it was so awful cold up there. Yeah. It was blistering cold. Yeah, we had to march though, and then we won the company. I can't remember the company now. I have it here in my records someplace. But anyway, the company won the rooster flag.
What's that?
This gives you special privileges. See?
Like?
Oh, like smoking. We had like 4 or 5 smoking periods a day, when other companies had maybe 1 or 2, say, at the most. And then we go around showing ourselves off, doing different maneuvers and things like that. It gave us a lot of, I can't remember all the privileges that we got from it. Oh, we went first in chow line. It didn't matter who was there, we went first. When we come in, we went first.
Did you go in as a group?
Yes, we went in ahead of everybody. Yeah. When we were ready to go in. Yeah.
That's interesting.
There were privileges, special privileges.
What made you earn? How did you earn the rooster flag?
By special drilling, all uniform, really sharp, and doing different maneuvers. Just perfect. Just like they talk about the Marines doing their drilling, well, that's the way we did it. And so the chief we had, I don't remember his name now, but he was fantastic. He had us out at 4 o'clock in the morning because he wanted that rooster, because I think there was something that the chief got out of this too. I'm not sure, but there was something there someplace, some special recognition.
Probably points towards a promotion.
Yeah, or for recognition of some sort, And so he was out to get that, and he was going to make darn sure that we done it.
Was he a tough
Yes, he was. Yes, yeah, very tough, but it was good
and demanding. And
yeah.
Did you find that helped you in your future Navy life?
Well, yes, because we never had an accident at sea. And I see these accidents happening today, and I say, I can't imagine how they happened. It just blows my mind, because we didn't allow nothing under us or over us when I was in the Navy. No, and that's just the way it was, you know. And that's why we were always afloat.
Did you, where were you reassigned to after you got through with basic?
Okay, I went to Pier 92
Which is?
in New York, and that was a debarkation point. And from there, I went to Southampton, England, and that's where I picked up my LST.
Oh, you were on LST.
Yeah.
Would you tell for the record what the LST stands for?
Well, it was a ship personnel vehicle, or ship, and it had a big ramp on the front.
It was called landing ship, wasn't it?
Yeah, landing ship, yeah. And our number was 511. And there was a flotilla of, I think about 13 to 14 ships.
Do you remember when you got there, the date around which you got there? Was it previous to the invasion?
No, it was after the invasion.
It was after.
Yeah, the ship was in the invasion, in the invasion, but I wasn't aboard it.
Then when did you go into the service?
In 44.
44.
Yeah, it was after the invasion. Yeah. But what we did after that was we run a ferry service, and it was from Le Havre and Bremen. Let's see, and well, we went to Drumm, Norway, but I was going to say we went to Le Havre a lot, and Southampton. And what we would do is go to Le Havre, pick up all the junk, tow it aboard, however we could get it aboard.
What kind of junk?
Tanks, motorized
Disabled.
units. Yeah, disabled units. And then we take them to Southampton, and they were reconditioned, and then we'd take them back to Le Havre, and that's where they would go to the Army units that requested them or whatever, you know, dispatched them to, you know. And that was our main job, is picking up the junk. We've done a ferry service, really. Yeah. Of course, we got chased by submarines all the time. But
Tell us about that.
That went on every time we were out at sea. But see, they had the big gun, and we didn't. LSTs didn't have big guns on them. They were 50 millimeter guns, and they had a 5-incher on the front of them submarines. You know, if they ever surfaced, you know, it'd be our goose. But see, they couldn't torpedo us neither, because we didn't carry enough water underneath.
And you were sort of a flat.
Yeah, and the torpedoes go right under us. Yeah. See, they could take an awful heavy load to sink us low enough so the torpedo would hit us. Most of the time, torpedo would go right on through. See.
How often would you go back and forth?
We'd make 2 trips a week. Yeah, and if it was necessary, 3. Yeah. Yeah, but just we'd run as fast as we had to. Yeah. And that was primarily our job. And then we went to, it was after the war was over then, and we went to Norway. We went to Bremen, and half of the flotilla went to Oslo. And I'm trying to think, it was probably in 45 sometime, 46, 45. And the high command left all these soldiers there. They were wandering the streets. And we went up there, we went through a minefield. It took us 3 days to go through there. And that was treacherous. But
Did you have lookouts?
Yeah.
For the mine?
God, yes. Yeah, we had cracked riflemen right on the front bow. Yeah, to shoot at them so that they'd explode before we got to them. Yeah. And we went up there, and we took soldiers up there, motorized units, and they rounded up these men. Well, they were German people looking for food. That's what they were doing. They just would steal chicken.
You didn't go up for American men. You went up there.
Just round up the Germans, and they were ready to surrender. They were ready to surrender. See, the high command left them. All the officers were gone, and these men were just wandering the streets. stealing anything they could to eat.
You were hungry.
In fact, we had a German guarding our ship, so that nobody would bother it, and we were feeding him, and he carried a full pack. He had his rifle with him and everything. But that's just the way the Germans treated their men, you know. They left them right there.
And this was in Bremen?
In Drumm in Oslo.
In Oslo.
In Oslo, they were rounding them up, yeah. And the flotilla broke up when we got to Norway. And some went to Drumm and some went to Oslo and picked up these men. And then we took them to Southampton.
Southampton, and then what happened to them?
Yeah.
They were
Well, they were prisoners of war
POWs,
then, yeah.
mhm.
POWs then, yeah.
Mhm.
But we took motorized units up there to round them up, you know, like that. And they were all ready to give up. I mean, there was nothing there for them to fight for, you know. And they didn't have no command of any sort.
And you had to do the rounding up yourselves?
No,
Oh.
the Army did that. No, the men aboard ship don't leave the ship. Only on liberty.
I see.
We
So in
went-
other words, you took those men up?
Yeah,
you
we took the Army
up-
men up there. No, we didn't have nothing to do with land duty, of any type of land duty, no, no. But we just stayed aboard the ship. We went on liberty there, because these Germans, they were glad to be rounded up. My God, they were happy in the devil to get food and things like that. See, because that's what we took. We took food supplies up with us and everything to take care of these men, see.
And you had the capacity to take all of those men
Yeah,
back?
yeah. Well,
How many of you were in the flotilla that you went up with?
about 13 ships.
All LSTs?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. With Army personnel and motorized units on them, see, to round up these men. Now, see, when we put them in a tank deck, there was no way to get out, because there was only 4 on ours. I think there was 4 exits. Once you got them in that tank deck, that was it. See, yeah. And then they had their own toilet facilities with 55-gallon barrels, you know, for toilet facilities and like that. You know. But they couldn't move around. See, once they're on that tank deck, that was it. They were confined there. There was only 4 exits, and then where you come into that tank deck area, there's 2 exits that are quite high, so you can observe everything going on. See. Yeah, yeah. And then there's ladders going down to the tank deck itself. See. And then the other ones are locked. The other doors are locked. See.
And how long was this trip?
Well,
How long were you?
Well, they would be 2 days.
Before they were
About
taken?
about 3 days.
Before they got to England?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Then they were...
Yeah, but you feed them soup and stuff like that. Anything that's big and bulky that we can get down in there, you know, to feed them. So,
How many trips like that did you make?
one
Just the one thing?
trip, yeah.
And then what else did your ship do?
That was about the extent of it. Our rendezvous with Lahore all the time. Yeah, always running back and forth there
To allow, for what reason?
to pick up junk and bring
Oh,
it back
still
to
doing
Southampton.
the junk.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I see.
And I suppose a lot of it was cleanup work after a while too, you know, getting a lot of that stuff back to Southampton, and I don't know what happened to it after that, you know. But then I come back to the States, well, the LST did, and then we were getting, we went into dry dock, and we were getting ready to go over to Japan. But we were on 30-day leave, and that's when the war was declared over with. So we were very lucky there. See, we were getting heavier guns put on the ship and everything.
So you never had to go to the...
No, I never had to go to Japan. No.
That's good. Yeah.
But I've been to Guam a couple of times after that, you know, after I got into service.
Out of the service.
Yeah, yeah. I traveled quite extensively around. Enjoyed it.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
Tell me about the people with whom you served. Was it the same group with whom you did basic training, or with you all the time?
No, we were all broke up. From basic training, I don't believe there was one man that was aboard that ship that I went to basic training with.
Is that right?
Isn't that funny? That's how they broke us up.
Put you
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah. And then when I went aboard ship, there was, I think, there was 6 men that come aboard that ship at that time.
That's all?
Yeah.
And that you were the 6 men?
I was one of the
manned
6.
You? Manned the whole ship?
No,
Oh.
no. I was.
That was just that group that
127.
went, beg pardon?
The crew was 127.
Oh.
Yeah. The crew is 127 men. But at replacement time, there was 6 of us that went aboard that ship. Yeah. So whether they lost some men,
I was going to ask you if there was a mortality rate.
yeah, whether they lost some men or what, I don't know. But there was 6 of us that went aboard that ship at that particular time.
So you were replacements?
Yeah, replacement. Yeah. Yeah.
How were the officers on your ship?
Well, they were all 90-day wonders, what they call 90-day wonders. And it was tough because, see, their skipper was, what do they call him now? They got a name for him. But he had been in the military for 20-some years.
He had been?
Yeah. And he was a full lieutenant. And he was the captain of the ship. So he didn't have much use for his officers. He was very strict with them. Yeah. But he knew all the crew because, see, he'd come up right from a seaman, you know, all the way up through the ranks, you know. And so he was an old pro. Yeah. But he knew his stuff. We never hit the water. So we all admired him. Yeah. Yakovich was his name. Yeah.
Now, what did you do on board the ship when on your way back and forth? I mean, were you constantly lookouts or?
Yeah, I was the man between all the lookouts. The information would come to me, and then I relate it to the officer on duty. So,
What kind of information? was
well, like let's say they spotted something on the horizon, the bow, or the port side, or the starboard side, either one of them, or maybe in the back. Say, if somebody picked up something of anything, airplane or anything, that I relayed to the officer that was on duty. That was in the wheelhouse. But you know, where they're doing all the steering, say, and that officer was right there, and he was in charge of that 4-hour shift. Say, and it's 4-hour shifts, and 4 on and 4 off usually, and that's the way we worked. Yeah. So,
Navy was known for good food. Did you have good food?
yes. In fact, all the Army boys said they're going to join the Navy in the next war. Yeah, because we had ice cream on Sunday and chicken. That was the main course, you know, for a Sunday meal.
You weren't eating out of cans.
No. But we did on the lookout stations. They always carried their little, what do you call it, a K
Sea
ration?
rations.
Yeah,
Okay,
the boys would we'd have them on the lookout station, say, it would be in the gun mount. And you always had a little snack up there, you know. You got a little hungry, well, you had a snack, see. So it was kind of neat that way as far as that part goes. You know. But other than that, we had regular food, you know. And of course powdered eggs and powdered potatoes. But hey, you know, it was good food. It was hot and everything. And you had gravy and usually, you know, your meat. Like we had pork chops and stuff like that. Now you take, one time there, we went over to La Havre and we picked up these Army American soldiers that were prisoners of war. Well, you know, we fed them, and my God, them guys walked around with a pork chop bone just licking it off. It was awful.
Did you get to talk to any of these people and
Yeah.
find out any of their experiences? Do you remember what any of them
No,
had
I
told
don't.
you what had happened to
No.
them or why they were prisoners for?
They didn't want to talk about that too much. And, you know, just like any of the horrors of war, nobody liked to talk about them. They just like to try to forget them, you know.
Did you have any horrors of war?
No, not really compared to what a lot of guys have witnessed.
Yeah, but if you had them, would you mind telling?
If I had, yeah, I wouldn't mind, I suppose, but I don't think I don't know. You hate to see little children playing around gun mounts and, you know, where, like they had that whole coastline, you know, the big gun mounts and everything. These little kids were playing around that stuff. It was so sad, you know, when they couldn't be playing in swings and teeter-totters and stuff like that, you know.
Did you get to talk to many of the natives, any of the French
No.
people, or any of the German or Norwegian people?
No. We didn't associate with the German people at all, you know. And we never hit the German shores, neither. So, but like the German prisoners, no, we didn't talk with them at all.
No, but I was thinking about some of the Norwegians or some of the
Oh, yeah,
French
the
or-
Norwegians, yeah, yeah. What we would do a lot of times, most of the time, is in a place like that or in France, you always got hooked up with a Frenchman or a Norwegian young fella. We want to know where there's a nice restaurant to eat, see. And you took care of his meal too, so usually be 5 or 6 of us guys together. And we'd take care of his meals and his drinks and everything too, see. So he had a nice evening out too, so that way. And so they would usually know where the good spots were, you know. And sometimes it'd be off a ways or be out of the main traffic, let's say, or something like that, you know. But they would know good places to go, and you weren't wasting a lot of time, see. And so for what little bit it cost you toward his meal, didn't amount to that much, you know. So it made a nice evening, see.
Did these people ever talk to you about the hardships that they went through?
No, the worst hardships that I've ever heard of is the lady I'm going with now.
Where? Oh, yeah.
The lady I'm going with now, Trudy Barnard. She was born and raised in Germany, Heidelberg, and she saw more of the war than any of us ever did. See? Because to begin with, they didn't know what Americans were until they were right there, because they weren't taught there was Americans. They didn't know what they were fighting for. Most of the young people, see. Well, she wasn't fighting, but she didn't know what this war was all about until
must have
after the
been quite
Americans moved in, see. And so there's a person that you should talk to about the horrors of war. She saw all her girlfriends killed and things like that, different ways, you know, through accidents or whatever, you know. And like she was telling about one time when a motor unit was going through, it was several vehicles, and this little kid got out the road and got run over. Well, see, you don't stop. You can't stop, because then you're a dead target, see? So the units kept on going. She says when it was all over, she says there was nothing there. But these are the things, these are the horrors of war, so, that nobody I can talk about, you know. And she was telling about, like they'd be out in the fields picking berries, and fighter planes would come over and start scraping the ground, see. And what they were doing is using these humans for target practice, but not trying to actually kill them, but just using them for target practice. See how
Were
close
these the
they-
German planes or
No,
the
these
American?
American planes, American planes. But see, the orders were, don't come back with your ammunition. So what are you going to do? Say, you take target practice and whatever you can. Once you hit your target, say. So that kind of stuff goes on, you know. But if they did get hit or killed, it would have been just one of those things, you know, that happened. And these things happen in war. See.
Were you given, did you say that you were given gunnery practice too? I mean,
Oh,
did
yeah,
you had to man the guns?
Oh yeah.
What kind of guns were
At
they?
one time, 50 millimeters. 50 millimeters or 40 millimeters. I'm not sure. Quite a long size bullet, about that long. And I was on one of the gun turrets at one time, yeah. But that was before they put me up in the conning tower to relay the messages.
Did you ever have to use them?
No, I didn't. I was a loader.
Oh.
I was a loader. No, but we had.
Well, your guns were ever in action.
They probably were, but not when I was aboard. Yeah,
That's good.
because we had a good gun crew. We had a very good gun crew. Yeah. Yeah. In fact, this fella that was a tricker man.
A what man?
The tricker man, the one that aimed a gun, you know,
okay.
and pulled the triggers. He was something else. He was a rebel, and I think he was born with a gun in his hand. And he never tied his shoes. He just slipped into them. And he was the shaggiest looking thing you ever saw. But funny, oh my God, he just loved that when you gave him a gun. And they'd send a balloon up, and then, well, I couldn't hardly see it. He'd shoot that gun about 3 or 4 or 5 bullets until he got a couple of tracers. Then he was on that target, and that was it. It was all over with. Yeah, he was something else. I never had to put more than one clip in the gun, but he'd have that target shot up. Yeah, and we got special liberty on stuff like that. See? Good gun crew. Yeah.
So you did a lot of practicing, but
Yeah.
you didn't have to use it.
No,
in some-
we
in
never used it.
self-defense.
No. We had general quarters, but we never used the guns. So you have general quarters a lot of times. See?
Tell us what general quarters are.
Well, that's when there's something in the area that you don't recognize or you know you're aware of, but you don't know what the results are going to be. See? And so what you got to do is be prepared. And so you might be in general quarters for a half an hour, but yet nothing happened. See, whether it was a submarine in the area or what was going on, you don't know. See? But you got to be prepared for it. So you don't get much sleep.
Oh, really?
No, not when you're underway. No, not especially when you're in a bad area. Yeah.
What were you doing? You were just alert on the...
Yeah, well, even if you wasn't on duty, say, you would be, you'd be awake. I mean, you might be sleeping in your bunk, but you had all your clothes on, in a life jacket, say. So you was ready. See, yeah, you did.
Tell us about the sleeping quarters in a boat like that, in a ship like, I should use the word ship,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
In a ship like that.
Well, there's, let's see, 4, 8, there's 16 men to a compartment, I think. I think we're 4 high.
The what?
I think it was 4 high, bunks 4 high.
4 high.
Yeah, I think they were. Yeah, as I remember, I'm not just sure about
Were they
that.
bunks or were they
Bunks,
hammocks?
yeah, bunks. They're steel framed. And then there's a burlap or canvas in there, you know, and you draw strings. You have drawstrings on them so that you get them nice and taut. And that's your mattress. That's your mattress.
I see.
Yeah.
And you would sleep
Yeah,
in there?
yeah. And you sleep on top of each other. You know, in a little air space between you. Yeah. Yeah. But now you have toilet facilities on each side of the LSD. See, each side. And then in the back is where the cooking and the dining area is, in the back of the ship. See? And of course the engine room's back there too. Only it's a deck down. Yeah, deck lower. Yeah.
Was there, how many decks were there in this?
2 decks.
Just the 2
2 decks on below the main deck. And then there's 2 decks above the main deck. There's 2 decks above. See, it's like a conning tower, almost like a submarine, almost as far as the top
Yeah, I
goes.
see.
Because there's trucks up there too. See, and then we have a lot of the jeeps up on the top deck and like that. We've had them break loose, you know. Go
I was going to ask,
flopping
how do
over.
you secure them?
Well, they're anchored down with belly gripes. And then if one of them breaks loose, like in tough water, you just let it go.
Were they metal or were they rope?
No, metal, all steel, all steel. Yeah. And they torn them all up so that they're locked down good. But once in a while, one will break loose. That is not done right. See? And we used to have the Army boys do that, a lot of it was done by the Army boys. And then what we'd do is make sure it was done properly. Well, evidently one of them wasn't one time. And we heard it up there rattling around in the storm. But there was nothing we could do. So once it breaks loose, it goes over the side, then it's all clear.
Was this one of the good Jeeps, or was it one of the?
It was a good Jeep.
It wasn't
Oh,
one
yeah.
of those, one of the garbage.
No,
I mean,
no.
you know the.
It would be a good Jeep, yeah, you know. But regardless, if it's loose and it goes over the side, that's good because it ain't so noisy then. See? Yeah. That's one of the
That's
lucky
interesting.
things that happen. Yeah. Especially when something like that breaks loose. Because in a storm, there's nothing you can do, so you can't go topside. You can't fool around with that thing, or you don't know when it's going to hit you.
How many knots did your ship go? How fast?
I think top speed was about 13 knots.
And translated how many miles?
That'd be
per
about
hour?
14 miles an hour.
14?
Yeah.
Then you were slow.
Yeah.
You mean
Very slow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Very slow. Yeah, we'd be going top speed 14 knots. Oh boy. Yeah, well, the Queen Mary went by us one time, and it was about a half an hour, and it was all over with. From the time we saw it to the time it went over the horizon,
Is that right?
about a half an hour.
Now that
That
was
thing
on a
went-
pleasure cruise?
No, that was
That was
carrying
transporting troops.
troops. That was transporting troops at the time.
Mhm.
It went by us like a flash. Yeah.
Amazing.
See, that's why they didn't have to have no escort, because they could go
They were
so
so
fast
fast. Mhm.
that a submarine couldn't get a bearing on them.
Interesting.
Yeah. They couldn't get a bearing on them. That ship went all alone. Yeah, went across that
No
Atlantic
escort.
Ocean, and it was just amazing. I went aboard that in, I think it was San Diego. I think is where it's tied up. I went aboard that.
Oh yes, it is. now.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And then the other thing that was interesting there was Howard Hughes's.
Goose.
Yeah, that would.
Oh, his plane, his wooden goose?
Yeah, that wooden goose.
Mhm.
Yeah. That was another thing that was there. Yeah, but that ship was something else. And I went aboard it, and it showed different sleeping compartments there. You know, and one thing and another for the troops that were on it. You know. But some of it was really luxurious. So, boy, it was really beautiful.
They didn't convert it?
Not everything, not everything.
Mhm.
You know. Some of it was still just the way it was, you know. Yeah, but boy, they could, I don't know how many troops they could carry on that thing.
And was that ship going back and forth?
Yeah, all the time.
Mhm.
Yeah, as far as I know. Yeah, because boy, it went
I
by us
didn't
just like a
realize
flash.
that. Mhm.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
From horizon to horizon,
Yeah, about
half an hour.
About a half an hour.
That's
all
fast.
over with. Yeah.
Then actually you didn't see combat per se, did you?
No.
Mm-hmm.
No. Just got chased a lot. That's
Oh,
all.
mhm.
Yeah, with the submarines.
Yeah.
But that was about the extent of it. Yeah.
What could you tell us about some of your most memorable experiences?
Well, I've done a lot of traveling.
I mean, in the service. I'm talking about in the service.
Yeah. Well, everything is memorable, I think. And you learned a lot, I think.
Like what?
Well, discipline. I think that's the main thing, discipline.
Mm-hmm.
I would not give it up. I would never say, I dreaded being in the service or anything like that. I'd never say that.
Mm-hmm.
I think every young child, young boy, well, girls too, as far as that goes, I think it's a wonderful training. And I advise everybody to go through that. I had 3 boys, and all 3 of them were in the military. Mm-hmm. And 2 of them were career men. One didn't like it. Mm-hmm. But he served as, I don't know, 2.5 years or something like that.
As a volunteer or direct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then he requested a discharge. So. Mm-hmm. But the other 2 liked it. But see, it was a personality conflict there. And that's what caused the difference. Mm-hmm. But there's 2 that were in the military, they loved it. Mm-hmm. And they would just wouldn't think nothing else of any other career than the military, mm-hmm. you know.
You said originally that you were in both WW2 and the Korean War. What did you do in that? What you told me now was so far was WW2.
WW2.
Can you tell us about what happened in Korea?
You
were still in the Navy?
I went back in. They called me back in.
Oh, you were discharged first?
Discharged and called back in. I went to Rhode Island, and they were looking for men in the transportation division. Well, see, I had 3 destroyers after that LST.
Oh, you didn't tell us about that.
No, well, there wasn't much of a career there neither because the war was over with then. Mm-hmm. Right? But anyway, I had 3 destroyers.
And what did you do on the destroyers?
Just more or less getting them ready to decommission them.
Mothball.
Yeah, mothball, mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I think with that on my Navy record, World War II record, when I went in the Korean War...
Excuse me, did you enlist?
No.
No, you said you were called back.
Yeah, I was called back.
Okay.
And when I went into that, I think they saw that on my record, and they decided I was going to have shore duty. So I went to Rhode Island, mm-hmm. and I went to the Transportation Division, and I was taking recruits to the rifle range. And that was my job. We were chauffeuring recruits around the country.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Around the country?
Yeah.
Now, where were you stationed?
Well, in Rhode Island.
Where you were in Rhode Island,
yeah.
But then, in other words, when you mean around the country, you mean just within that state?
Yeah, within that area,
mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whatever was going on, some kind of a event, you know, of any significance, I would take a busload. Well, of course, it'd be 2 or 3 or 4 busloads, mm-hmm. and we would take these recruits to whatever this event was, you know, and then we'd have to come back and pick them up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it was quite a deal because you had to get a military license. See.
What's the difference between a military license and
I really don't know, other than this. You start out with a sedan, then you go to a truck, a dump truck. Then you get to a bus, now a gasoline bus, small bus. Then you went to the semi-truck, that's with a trailer on it. Then you went to the diesel bus, that's the big one. Mm-hmm. Now once you had the diesel license, you only made 1 or 2 trips a day, see. That was the object of getting that big license because you didn't do much, see. So anyway, that was the idea behind it, get the biggest license you could get and you do the less work. Mm-hmm. Like anything in the military, give 500 men a job that take 2 men to do, you know. Mm-hmm. And that's the way it always is. But anyway, that's what I ended up doing, is taking recruits to the rifle range. You know. And I lived there on the base for a while. Then I went ashore, and my wife come up. I got married in the meantime, and my wife come up there, and I had an apartment ashore. Mm-hmm.
What did you do in your spare time while you were still on duty? I mean, in between, was there any specific thing that you had to do, or what you were allowed to do?
Well, we take care of our bus, whatever piece of equipment that you were assigned. You know, you usually kept that swept out and mm-hmm. washed, and checked the oil, make sure the oil and everything was all taken care of, so that your truck was your bus was in top shape. You know, for any call you got, other than going to the rifle range or mm-hmm. something like that. So, yeah.
then in other words, you really worked with recruits.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. That was the main object of the Transportation Division. Other than taking, now we had a chow run that went out to the rifle range, and that was done with small trucks, you know, with soup and crackers, sandwiches, light stuff, you know. But they'd always have soup with them and everything like that. And then when they come back in the evening, they had their main course, you know, the main meal. You know.
When they were back at their base.
Yeah, back at
when
the
you
base,
took it
yeah.
to the-
Yeah.
Did you get to know any of these men? Did you know
No.
anything about what? You didn't get to know any?
No, we never communicated with them at all. No, no. Just more or less took them to the rifle range and got them squared away there, you know.
But you had no other responsibilities between the times that you were transporting these men?
No.
And how long did you do this?
A year. I was
And
in
then
for a year.
You were
Then
just in for a year?
Yeah, and then I was discharged. Yeah.
Was it after the war or that you were discharged or
No,
the war
no.
was still going
The
on?
war was still going on. That Korean War. Yeah.
And this was still in the Navy?
Yeah. Mm. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So them boys that were, you know, we recruited there and took care of, they're the ones that was taking over for us.
And they went overseas?
Yeah. Yeah.
They went overseas?
Yeah.
South Korea?
Yeah. That's the way it was.
Yeah. Did you ever have any injuries or anything
No,
like that when
no,
you were?
no.
Yeah, okay. And I asked you for your best experience.
Mm-hmm.
What was your worst experience?
Getting chased by submarines, I think. Because you didn't know if they were going to surface or not. See, that was a fear you had. Because they had a bigger gun than we did. See? And they could kick us out of the water. In fact, the flotilla lost 3 ships one time, a little before I was aboard. And the submarine come up between the two. See, there was 2 columns of ships. The submarine come up in the middle, the way I understand it. And they got 3 LSTs, sunk them right dead in there.
And you lost
That was in the
those
fog.
men?
That was in a fog, right in the channel, in the English Channel, say.
In the channel?
Yeah. That's why they had to be so careful about. See, they went out around so that they took a longer trip than normal because the channel was loaded with submarines. See, they were waiting for anything that went across there. So that's why we went to sea a little bit and then come back around to Lahore. But that was the biggest fear you had was some submarines.
Imagine.
See, that was a fog when they come up through there. And you know, you got foghorns going all the time, so they could pick them out, say. And they knew this where these sounds were coming from, and that somebody come up in the middle. And got 2 on one side and 1 on the other.
That's
Yeah,
right.
sunk 3 of them in a matter of half an hour. It was all over with. Yeah.
And of course, your gunnery was not strong enough to really take care of them. Right?
No.
You didn't.
No, because you couldn't see them. You
And you
could hardly
didn't have
see 'em.
any bombs either that you
No.
dropped. I mean, what do they call
Depth
them?
charges.
Depth charges.
No, they didn't carry them on an LSD. No.
No, you wouldn't. It
No.
would be too small.
Yeah. They were on the destroyers.
Tell me, during your, what did you take away from your service? I know that you said that you liked it, you felt it was good training and you
Yeah.
learned discipline, but was there anything else that you really took away from your time in service that helped you perhaps in your future life?
Well, I think the discipline was the main thing. And I think that follows you all through life, I think. Don't you?
Yeah.
Because I think that a lot of times you think, oh, I ought to give up. But no, you don't. See, you say, well, I'm going to fight this out to the end, and I know I can make it, you know. And so I think that it helps you all through life, really. I've been very happy with my life. I have. Yeah, yeah. I've been very happy. I got 4 lovely children, and I was very strict with them.
Because of your discipline?
Yeah, I think
and
so.
You felt that
I
it
think
was,
so. And I think that helped them too. I think it helped them. Yeah.
You said something about having a reunion.
Yeah, we have a ship's reunion every year.
Tell us what happens there.
Well, what we usually do is, like we go to Pensacola, let's say, Florida, or New Orleans, and we'll all get together at a hotel, and we will have the hospitality room 90% of the time of our own. So it'll be just our crew will be on that.
Just your crew, and,
Yeah.
and so in other words, you've been able to keep in touch with all of these.
Yes, oh yes. Yes, we have a deceased list and a living list of personnel, say, so that, well, we can talk to each other anytime. We call each other up once in a while.
Good. So it was a tight-knit group.
Yeah. Now, a man wanted a face to a clock.
They what?
A man wanted a face to a clock.
Yes.
This guy just called me here a couple of days ago, and I had it sent to him. See, I ordered it for him and sent it to him. See, I do clock work.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so he wanted that face for a clock that he's got. That the face was damaged or something and destroyed or something or anything. So he wanted a paper face, and I had one sent to him.
Does the list of the people that you have list what their men do, or I mean
No.
what their jobs are
No.
today and
No.
surveying? But you just get this information from having been.
Yeah, at these
reunion.
meetings. And these guys have been at the meetings. See, now, one fellow that, the first class cook, him and I were very good friends aboard the LST, and he lives in Boulder, Colorado. Now, what he does, he has a shop that he sells antique billboards and films and cards of like Roy Rogers and Gene Autry and stuff like that, you know. And what do you call it? Memorabilia.
Yeah.
They call it. And he has a shop with that stuff in it, see. And that's what he does.
Yeah.
I think it's
But
great.
it's fun knowing what these men are doing today.
Yeah, some of them, yeah, some of them. And then we had one guy, he was a ship fitter aboard ship. He's an engineer for some company out of New York. He lives in Hyde Park now, but he's 80 years old. He just got a pacemaker. And he goes to Australia, let's say, and this company in the United States is going to buy this other company out. And what he does, he goes there and surveys the equipment to tell them this equipment will last you another 10 years, let's say. And then it's going to have to be replaced. So whatever you're buying, just consider this, you know. And this
Well, then this sort of relates to what he learned while he was in the Navy, doesn't it?
Yeah. But it's amazing what some of these guys do, you know. And so we're all chums, you know, and we talk to each other all the time. And like this guy wanted sunglasses that went all the way around his face. See? He likes some kind of sunglasses. So I had 2 pair home because of my eye operations. So I sent them both to him. He sent me nice aviator sunglasses, beautiful sunglasses. You know, it was great. It's great.
That's wonderful that you
we
keep in
communicate.
touch.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that's very
Yeah.
general. Have you lost many of them?
Yes, about half and half.
Is that right?
About half and half now,
And you've done this ever since the end of the war?
yeah. No, they started this up about 25 years after the war.
No.
They started this up about 25 years. And then they couldn't get a hold of me because I was inducted in Kerhonkson. Now that's down in the Catskills. And I lived in Elmville. Kerhonkson was a nearest town where they were inducting men. See? So they couldn't find me for quite a few years. And finally I got a call from Florida, Pensacola, Florida. And the guy wanted to know if I was Robert Milton and if I was in the Amphibs. And I said, yes. And, well, you were aboard the LST-511? And I said, yes. And he says, well, we've been looking for you. And they found me through the internet. And with the computers. Say, I imagine they must check the postal records or something. Huh? Must be that's the way they do that. I don't know. I really don't know. But anyway, that's how they found me. So they were telling me about the reunion, and I said, yeah, I'd like to go. So they sent me all the literature and everything, you know. And we have a newsletter, see, that comes out. This is one of them right here. See, this is a newsletter that we have. That we put out.
Yours says LST-511.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. It just
Yeah. And all of them that they put out since I've been with them, they put out about 2 or 3 a year, say, and then I saved them, and this little girl was talking to me one day, and she says, "You were in the World War II?" And I says, "Yeah." She was studying World War II in the history class, and I says, "Yeah." She said, "Have you got any information for me?" And I says, "Yeah." I give her the whole folder. I said, "Now you read everything here," and I says, "You really have something." She got an A+.
Oh, great.
Yeah. She got an A+
Isn't
from
that
this.
nice that you keep all this information with you?
I keep it all in there, and yeah, we get when, like I say, the list of deceased. See, that comes through the newsletter and everything, and so, and then there's all my discharges and Navy records.
When you were in the service, did you keep in touch with anybody at home? Were you made aware? Did you know what was going on in the world in the rest of the war?
No.
You didn't. You
No,
felt
not
you were
when
isolated?
you're in the military. No, not in my particular situation. I didn't know.
You had no way of knowing what was going on in the outside world?
No. I don't know. I imagine the officers did, but as far as the crew went, I don't think they did. No.
Did you get anything through the mail? I mean, through mail letters that you wrote to your family or
Well,
friends?
a lot of that
Did-
was all censored, you know. All that stuff was censored.
Yeah.
So there was no way of really knowing what was going on. It's the same way when you send a letter home. See, a lot of them would be blocked out,
Right.
see? So you didn't know what was going on.
I think we're through. The timing is good.
Yeah, we're all
Is
done.
there anything else that you feel that you
No,
wanted to know?
no.
If I asked the right questions?
Yeah, you asked enough of them. Yeah.
Okay.
I hope I helped you out.
Then I think we'll
Yeah,
call it quits.
I hope.